Oh my god, you guys, first video of 2024. I need a lip gloss. With the new year, of course, comes so much more opportunity, a chance to start fresh, reflect on the past year, what we liked, what we didn't like, and just give us that new opportunity to strive for our goals, create new goals, and adjust. Before we continue with today's video, I want to thank our sponsor, which is Dossier. Dossier is my favorite online fragrance brand. They specialize in inspired by fragrances from all of your cult designer favorites. This is my all-time favorite and one of their best sellers, Ambery Saffron. It is based on Baccarat Rouge, and it smells exactly like it. I get compliments on this everywhere I go, and whenever people try to guess what it is, if they do, they always guess that it is Baccarat. So good. And they have so many different fragrances for men, women, unisex. You can literally just go on their website and type your favorite and the dupe will show up. It's affordable and it's just a great way to smell good and bring joy to your everyday life. I also have a discount code for you guys if you want to check it out, so I will link them down below. Thank you so much to Dossier, and let's continue on with the rest of the video. I wanted to talk a little bit about self-love and how your mindset will really be the ultimate thing that pushes you to that next level. So one of the things that I am going to do in 2024 is be very strict with my beauty routine, and basically it comes down to my self-care routine. I made a list in my notes app of all the things I need to do daily, weekly, monthly, maybe twice a month, every 6 months, and then yearly to look and feel my best. Drinking enough water, working out, getting outside. Something I really want to emphasize this year is doing yoga and stretching at least at the end of every workout. Really prioritizing the staple things and making a habit out of them, making them part of your routine, just really help elevate you and your mindset. And like, it's not just about how you look, but it's about how you feel, you know? And I think when you invest more into your looks, your body, but you're gonna feel better about yourself as well, because if you're investing time and or money, you're gonna be like, yes, this is paying off. And if it's not, then do something else, you know? One of my #1 goals / resolutions is prioritizing peace and calm and relaxation. I think a lot of that comes from moving to New York and just living in such a hectic environment. Basically, I don't think you can really put a price on peace. I think it's very important to notice how you feel during and after, you know, certain events, hanging out with certain people, being around them. And if you're constantly in a state of disease or worry or just feeling almost like insecure after hanging out with someone, I think that's just a really important sign that your peace is being disturbed and that they are not worth your time and effort, and they don't deserve to be part of your life. Prioritizing peace and putting yourself first, it's not easy, especially if, you know, let's say someone has been your friend for so long and like you've just slowly been feeling more and more disgruntled towards them. That's not just an easy thing to do, and I do think to a certain extent social media does kind of promote, you know, people being disposable and like, oh, just cut people off, like protect your peace, cut everybody off, instead of, you know, conflict management or speaking up for yourself or trying to like work through issues. Because I do think it's true to a certain extent. Social media, dating apps, etc., it kind of gives you this idea that there's always going to be like somebody new, again, whether it's in dating or in friendships, like, okay, well, I'll just make another friend, I'll just find somebody else. And while that's kind of true in a sense, especially if you're in a bad situation, some issues are worth talking through. And it's like, if you're constantly feeling annoyed at someone or like pissed off after you hang out with them, or just kind of like little things, you start replaying little things in your head, getting annoyed, sometimes you do have to ask yourself like, okay, like, am I doing everything I can to try and communicate how I feel or how their actions are affecting me, etc. A big part of glowing up and changing your mindset is about confidence. As I've gotten older, the main thing I've learned about confidence is that it's actually something you have to practice and work at like any other skill, especially when it comes to confidence in yourself, in pursuing your goals and dreams. You have to keep doing something even when you're uncomfortable doing it. A lot of us don't try new things and we stay in our comfort zones, and we don't do things that feel hard or scary because it's uncomfortable. Let's say you want to start going to the gym regularly. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, like of course I want that hot bod, I want to feel better, I want to be healthier, I want to be stronger. But then when it actually comes to waking up earlier or going to the gym and feeling awkward and uncomfortable and like self-conscious, that is going to be what deters a lot of people, or what prevents a lot of people from continuing or even starting in the first place, because it's uncomfortable. And yeah, you want that end result, but it's like, are you willing to go through the discomfort? So you just have to remind yourself that that is a feeling, and the more that you do it and force yourself to do it and get through it, the more your brain will associate, oh, like, I'm actually safe while doing this. And so you will no longer have that resistance. Your brain will no longer create that resistance when you go to do it or when you set a goal. And it makes every other aspect of your life that much easier, because that's what actually builds confidence in yourself. I've talked a lot about people pleasing on my channel and on my podcast coming back soon. I think that's another really big example. A lot of people pleasers have a hard time saying no. And so if you just basically force yourself to say no, to tell somebody no, like if you can't do something, if you can't make a commitment, it will be uncomfortable at first, but you'll be so relieved after. And then your brain, the more you do it, the more your brain will associate saying no with like the relief, instead of like, oh, the discomfort, like, oh, they're not gonna like me, they're gonna be mad at me, something bad's gonna happen. So that is how you actually build confidence in yourself. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with manifestation and the law of attraction. You know, if you have confidence in yourself and a positive mindset, that's not to say be delusional. I see a lot of people talking about being delusional, and I mean, on one hand, yeah, it's like blindly believe in yourself, period. But it's also like goals take effort. Trying something new is going to take effort and like emotional effort, because you're pushing past discomfort, getting out of your comfort zone. So I wouldn't really say, oh, be delusional, but I think it's important to be optimistic and to believe in yourself, and to believe in yourself even when you may fail or not do something perfectly the first time. I think one of the most powerful ways to start attracting more of what you want is to act as if you already have it. Not to be mean, but I always remember I had a friend, this was like so many years ago, but we were going to hang out. They brought their best friend, who I kind of knew of, but I never really hung out with, you know? And this girl literally just complained the whole time. She was complaining about how expensive everything was. She was complaining about how she had no money. She was complaining about her job. She just was complaining so much. And it's one thing to vent, especially to your friends. Like, she was with her best friend, so she probably felt a little more comfortable. But it was kind of like she just had this aura around her of just like a bad mindset. And it's like, obviously things are not going to be, you know, great and rosy all the time. Again, it's not about being delusional, but I think you really have to be careful what you say, what you speak into existence, what you talk about to your friends. So that's not like, oh, hold everything negative in all the time. But some things, it's like, just don't even say that. Like, you know, when you say something and then it happens like immediately after, and it could even be something like, it could be something negative, and you're like, oh my god, like I attracted it. So this girl, my friend's friend, I just always think of that, because it's like, she was cute. Like, I would not have judged her at all. And not that I'm like judging her now, but it just created such like kind of a bad vibe. And it's like, you know, when someone's just a very negative person, like they have something negative to say about anything, it was just very hard to conversate with her and relate to her, and it just kind of brought the vibes down. Like, someone could be in a worse financial position than her, or like just that much further from where they want to be, but if they just had a positive attitude and like spoke highly of themselves and chose to enjoy what was in front of them, which was like a nice time with friends, instead of just complaining, bad vibes, like complaining about everything, oh my god, I hate my life, like this is everything that's going wrong, you're just going to continue focusing on that. And again, it's one thing to vent, but it's like, girl, do that in a journal. And also, that wasn't really venting, because venting has like an end point. It's like, you vent and this is the vent, and then like it was just how she was. So don't be that person. And again, that's not to say you need to be unrealistically optimistic all the time, or always happy, or never show any negative emotion. But I'm sure you guys understand the difference that I'm trying to convey. And especially if you have big goals and you kind of want to elevate yourself, it's important that you align your thoughts, how you speak about others, how you speak about yourself with that. I will also be careful of what music I listen to. That's not to say I don't love a good like sad music session where I cry and let everything out, but on a day-to-day basis, it's like, I want to be uplifted, I want to feel good. A lot of the media that we consume, the music that we listen to, that is going to get into our subconscious. So if you want to feel better, do better in your life, feel better about yourself, why would you listen to music that is always bringing you down and putting you in a negative mindset? I think law of attraction is very true in the sense that you can train your mind on what to focus on. Because you know when you learn, this is like the classic example for me, you know when you learn a new word that you didn't know before and then you start seeing that word everywhere, or you hear about a new car, or you think a car is really cool, or maybe a car is like very triggering, like an ex's car or something, but you're focused on it, so you start seeing that car everywhere around town, you know, the Instagram ads start popping up. Same is true for, you know, just the thoughts that you think. If you're always focused on the negative, you're going to continue just seeing the negative. Versus if you're like, let me look at the positives of the situation, that's what you're going to see. We're going to look for solutions. We're going to look for, you know, what can I gain from this? Not in like a opportunistic way. So I think it's also very important to practice gratitude. And another good manifestation technique for journaling is to write like a thank you letter to the universe or God or whatever it is you believe in. You could even thank yourself. You write all the things that you want, but you write it as if it's already happened. That's another thing, and this is honestly why I don't really do vision boards, which I think they're cute. I think it's like fun, but that doesn't really work for me as far as achieving my goals. Because if I'm making a board of everything I don't have, I'm just kind of thinking of that as like, look, this is all the stuff I don't have, and every time I look at that, personally for me, like it could work for someone else, but I don't think like, I don't do it because I just know if I look at that, it's like, I see it as kind of unrealistic. Versus for me, what works is like writing a list of what I want and then like going like, okay, this is the next steps I can do to start working on this goal, this goal, this goal. And again, it could be different for someone else. Like you could make a vision board and you could feel inspired and like, oh my God, I have that. Like practice feeling grateful every time you see it instead of like, oh, I want that. Because if you're always in the wanting stage, that's like its own separate feeling from like, oh, I have that. I'm grateful for that. I'm already living as if I have that. So writing a thank you letter in your journal is a great way to jumpstart your manifestations as well. And I just really want to remind you guys that nothing, I mean, some things can happen overnight, but most goals are not achieved overnight, and your life is a collection of the little things that you do every day. So if you are doing a little bit of self-care every day, but you're doing it every day, that is going to add up. And the same is true for negative or destructive habits. You know, if you just do a little bit every day, that also is going to add up. So do whatever it is that is going to work best for you, whether that is making a vision board, journaling, waking up earlier. Not everything is going to work 100% the same for everyone, but just do what works for you. Of course,